All right, so I forgot to show you guys all of the sludge in the transmission fluid pan, but what you're looking at right now is inside of a trash bag. At the bottom of the trash bag is a transmission filter, and then I have these shop towels that I use basically to wipe out the bottom of the pan. You can see all the nasty sludge. It was just disgusting. There was so much sludge in that pan. So I scraped it out with the scraper, and then I used these shop towels basically to wipe it up. Then I took it out to the street and pressure washed it to get the pan all clean. So yeah, so let's look at the pan. Okay, so as you can see, the pan looks pretty good. Again, I had to pressure wash it. It was so disgusting. I've got the gaskets sitting on top of it because the filter came with two different gaskets, and you know, they're all crumbled up in the box. So I'm just basically, I let it lay on the pan so it can kind of just form itself over the pan, and I'm getting ready to put that up. But before I put the pan on, I'll show you the filter. I don't mean to bore you all with all this, but just wanted you all to see. I've got the new transmission filter put in. It looks nice and clean. There was actually a little bit of debris and stuff on the bottom of the valve body and stuff on the transmission, so I wiped that with the rag as well. And everything looks pretty good. I actually let it basically drip dry for a week just to try to get all of the water and the fluid out of there. So I'm pretty sure there's some in the torque converter, and so I'll have to do another transmission fluid flush later, but I just wanted to show you all what we're looking at. All right, so I picked up some parts from the Javelin. What I decided to do is, since the radiator is not able to be rebuilt, and I went ahead and ordered a brand new radiator. So since I'm going to do that, and there's all kinds of sludge and junk in the old radiator and old sludgy stuff coming out of the engine, I'm going to change the water pump, because I know the water pump probably has a bunch of garbage in it as well. So with that, I'm going to change the belts as well. So and obviously I had bought the I bought this alternator that I'm going to be replacing too. So let's get this open and see what we got here. So what I ended up doing is I ended up picking up an aluminum water pump, being that it's just a, you know, a car, old car like this. I think a lot of the parts are new. I don't know if there's very much remanufactured parts circulating. So I actually got a really good deal on this aluminum water pump. So I'm going to try this out, and we're going to see how this works and see what it looks like. It looks pretty good on the box. And I'll tell you what, it's super light. As a matter of fact, when this box came in, I knew there was a couple of things in it, but I was very surprised that the water pump was in there when I looked at the online confirmation. Again, just trying to eliminate all the weight off the engine. Again, it's going to be a lot easier to swap out an aluminum water pump than a cast iron. My thoughts are that the original cast iron right now, there's probably all kinds of crud. Potentially, maybe the impeller is all corroded and torn up, and maybe there's a bunch of sludge in here. So that's why I figured, you know what, might as well start out with the new water pump as well. So this one looks pretty good. I'll put it close to the camera for you guys to look at it. But I can tell you right now, I'm very impressed with this water pump. GMB is the brand, and let's look at it here. Looks pretty good. Obviously, I'll know more when I install it, right, to see how it worked out. But just looking at it, I mean, it looks like a really good quality unit here. You know, I'm looking at here, turning this, the bearings, everything looks real tight. There's the impeller there. So I'm going to, and it even came with a couple of spacers. I'll figure out what these are for once I get that thing taken apart. So just want to show you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to stick the camera in there. Again, I know you guys have seen the engine already, but I'm going to do it again for this video so you can see what I'm going to be doing right now. Okay, so here's under the hood here. You can see I'm probably going to go ahead and eliminate the smog pump right here because I don't need that. I've obviously, this engine has headers on it, and that thing was just kind of just blowing air. And the tubes were just hanging on the top, if you remember. So I'm going to go ahead and just eliminate the smog pump altogether. And then you can see the alternator down there at the bottom that I'll be replacing as well. One thing to note, though, I'm looking at the way the belts are set up. You probably can't see it too good on the camera. Maybe you can. You can see this one here going to the smog pump. And this one actually is going over the power steering pump. Then it's going down to the main pulley on the bottom, and then it's going on the water pump here. So it's basically the water pump and the power steering pump are all in the same belt. So looking at the technical service manual, that's not a typical belt run. So it's as far as the belts are routed. So I think the way some of this was done, whoever had the car before kind of just did it their way. Probably because this isn't working, maybe. You know, the air conditioning compressor, maybe it's not working. So I bought some belts and I hope everything works. I hope it all comes together, so we're going to find out. Okay, so I have the smog pump off. I'll show you there. You can see there's nothing below the power steering pump. Let me get over there to the smog pump. It's on the ground with the bracket and everything. So that bracket on the bottom goes below the smog pump and bolts on the water pump. So that's what that looks like. And I was basically just loosening up the power steering pump so I can get the belt off. So if you can see the ratchet on the power steering pump there, there's actually, that's what you do. There's a nut on the back of that. So you basically, you loosen this nut here like that. And then you're able to basically loosen the power steering pump. It looks like it's about to fall off too. So that bracket on the bottom for the smog pump, I believe that is also to hold the power steering pump in place as well. So I'm gonna need to put that back on when I get this done here. So next step here, I'm going to take this belt off and see if I can get the alternator off as well. Now this is fun. Check this out. I'm under the car and look at the alternator. This is crazy. You would have thought it was a Japanese car or something. So I have to loosen this here so I can get the belt off, obviously, and there's another bolt on top for me to take the alternator off. But man, give me a break. They were doing this in 1974? Crazy. So yeah. So the alternator's at the bottom of the motor. So just wanted to show you guys that before I take it off. And then here's a top view of the alternator here. Yeah. Not too bad right now because the radiator's gone. So there's decent room to get to it. But when the radiator's in there, and imagine with the fan shroud on, yeah, it would not be fun replacing the alternator. So yeah, want to show you guys that. I've already got the wiring off on the back of the alternator. That was another thing. There's like a rat's nest back there. Two different areas where there were terminals that had to, with a nut that went on the back of the alternator, then two plugs as well. So that's a lot different. Usually the GM ones just have a plug that goes in the back, and then one power one for the alternator. I'm sorry, coming from the battery. So very interesting, just learning, so we'll keep moving. All right, I have the alternator off, and this may be a clue as to why it was not working. It looks like it's pretty beat up and thrashed if you look in there. It looks nasty in here, all corroded. Interesting, there's a little capacitor on the back. I'm gonna see if the new one has a capacitor on the back. But yeah, I'm wondering if this is the original. I'm thinking it is the original Motorola. I could be wrong. Again, I'm still learning the process on here with the AMC, but this is the back of it, what it looks like. And here's the front of it, what it looks like. And let me wipe my hands off here. I'll get the new one out. We'll do a little comparison here to see what the difference is. Okay, so this is the new one. Okay, there's the old one, there's the back. That's really what I'm curious of, how it looks in the back. And this is the new one. So in the front it looks the same. The back, it doesn't have that capacitor on it. I'll need a double check. I would say you don't need the capacitor because this is probably all integrated in. It all looks the same to me. So if I look at the back of this alternator, it has the two prongs here. It has this area here, which there was something on. It has this one as well. It has this down here, so those match up. Not remembering what this is here. It doesn't look like anything, just holding that capacitor down. So I think we're good on this, so I'm gonna get this put on in a minute. Water pump first. Okay, so here's where we're at right now. On the left was where, on the bottom where the alternator was. Smog pump gone, just below the power steering pump. So next I'm gonna take the fan off, and then I'll start working on, I'll need to take the water inlet hose for the heater core, which is that red hose on the left there. I'll need to take that off. That's coming out of the water pump. And then I'll also need to, I think that's it, just that. So I think I shall be good. So I'm gonna take these bolts off. Fan off here. I think we're good to go. All right. So one thing I was been curious about is this little spacer. Okay, it's metal. I thought this spacer here was plastic this whole time. I was very worried, but it's metal, so we're good. So got the pulley. We'll take the pulley off, and I'll get the bolts off for the water pump next. Okay, so now that the fan is off, this is what I got to work with here. I just want you guys to see. So there's several bolts around the water pump that need to go off. Also, this here I got to figure out, this is the bracket at the bottom of the AC compressor. I need to see what I'm going to be doing with that. Hopefully I don't have to take off the AC compressor, but I at least wanted to show you guys what I need to deal with now. It looks like it should be pretty straightforward to come off. So sometimes things are a lot easier said than done. So I'm gonna get to working on pulling this off. Check this out, the alternator bracket on the bottom. I basically have to take this idler pulley off because it's all integrated with this bracket that holds the alternator. All of this stuff here has to come off just to take the water pump off, because you could see those bolts on the top right there. Those go to right through the water pump, I should say. So all of this bracketry has to come off. Man, that's a major task just to swap out a water pump, but here we go. Okay, I have the last bolts off. I just wanted to film this so you guys can see how this is all one little mechanism. All right, so I'm gonna pull this out. And heck, I might have to come back and reference this video later. So I'm just going to pull this out so you guys can see what this contraption looks like. So all of this, these go through the water pump right here, these long bolts. And then of course they go into the block, just like that. We got this idler pulley here, which is frozen. But this is for the air conditioning belt. And then this is the area that this is the area that the alternator goes in right here. So this is what we're looking at here. This is the whole contraption in itself. Just want to show you guys all that. Again, this is a learning experience for me, and we will all learn together with this. So next, okay, we're at the final stretch here. I just have this one last bolt to take off. Then the water pump should be able to come off. So let's see what we got here. Well, I guess I didn't loosen this one. I turned my air compressor off because I'm going to wrap it up for the day. So there we go. Let's see if there's enough to take this last bolt out. All right. So there we go. Last bolt out for the water pump. Now let's see how she comes off. I know it's still kind of lodged behind this L bracket here, so I'm gonna see if I can still get it off. I can see that it's moving a little bit. Probably need to get it's not moving too much. This L bracket's in the way here for the air conditioning unit, and there's actually a nut underneath here that if I could loosen this nut, then I can take this L bracket off, which will give me obviously room to wiggle the water pump, but I can't get a wrench under there. So I was hoping if I could knock this off, then I'll take that L bracket off, because I'm not going to need it because I'm not running the air conditioner right now. So I'm probably going to tap this with a mallet a little bit and see if I could loosen it up a little, see if that'll help it come off. You know, again, I got a new water pump, so I'm not worried about this thing messing anything up. But it does appear to be lodged in there. And guess what? There's a nut, there's a bolt right on the top here. No wonder, because I think it'll come off here. I think there'll be enough wiggle room. So let me loosen this up here. Yeah, I'll probably just take this one out by hand here. Maybe not, it's a little stiff. Stick it back on here. Get this off. So got this off. And what I'm doing with these water pump bolts, since they're all different sizes, I'm actually labeling them as to what is what, where it's located. I got this one, it says right, top and bottom. One is actually even longer than the other. I've got notes for these irregular bolts, so I can know which ones go where when I put it back in. So there we go. So I'm gonna grab the camera real quick. Okay, and kind of the reason why I wanted to do this and show it up close, because I have a hunch there's all kinds of debris and junk in here, and that's why I wanted to swap the water pump. Look at that. Nasty. Looks like garbage. And that's why I wanted to clean all that out, get some of that sludge out of there, because if I'm going to be putting in a brand new radiator, I don't want all of this sludge getting pushed inside of it. So that's basically why I wanted to swap out the water pump. So let's take a look here. And just as I had suspected, check that out. Check out the impeller. It's broken. Look at all that sludge. It's nasty. So that's the reason why I wanted to do this. That was my plan. So this is why I wanted to replace the water pump here. Take a look. We've got a broken impeller here. And look at all of this sludge. We got all of this sludge. And look at here. Check out that. Looks disgusting. This outlet here is nasty. It's all full of crud, and I had chipped all this gunk out earlier when I was swapping out the radiator hoses, but I'm glad I did this. I was on the fence because I don't want to spend a lot of money on this car right now. I'm just trying to get it to run, but this is a must-do here. Again, I'm just doing this because I'm getting a brand new radiator, and I don't want any of the gunk and sludge inside of the motor getting circulated in this brand new radiator. So yeah, that's what we got here. Looking forward to getting the new water pump put on. So that's next. Check this out too. I don't know if you guys can see that, but look at that. It's almost completely clogged. So what I'm going to end up doing basically is I'm going to flush the block out. I'm going to just stick a water hose in there and just see if I can circulate the water to get it out. See if I can get some of this gunk out. So stay tuned, everybody. I appreciate you watching.